This is a Eurofile review of Pick a Dog and Pick a Pig by Torsten Landsvogt. I've clearly pronounced his name wrong, that's inevitable. This is a party game. It's apparently aimed at children. Although it says on the box that it's for all ages, and I've certainly found that it does work with adults as well. It's a cute game, as you can see. It's a sort of speed pattern recognition sort of game. I find it works quite well as an icebreaker or just as a very quick filler in between games. It can get quite competitive as well, which is quite fun for such a light sort of game. I'll show you a little bit about how it plays. Here the table is set for a round of Pick a Dog. Now Pick a Pig is exactly the same. I mean exactly the same. The only difference in Pick a Pig is that they have different noses. So you'll see that this character has a different type of nose. And what that means is that you can mix up the two boxes, Pick a Pig and Pick a Dog, and because you've got that many more cards and that many more options, it means that now you can play with up to 8 players instead of up to 5 players with just a single box of the game. The way that the game works is that each player will start with a card which they don't get to look at immediately, and this is going to be their starting card. So let's have a look at it. So this is what I've got here. Now when we say go, every player will start to grab cards from the central board, and they're looking for cards that have one difference from the card in their hand. So obviously this guy has sunglasses, he's only got one arm, he's small, and he's pink. So I could have a look around and see if there's anything similar to this. Well, this one over here actually is similar. He's got popcorn, but otherwise he's the same, so that's one difference. So I could grab that and put that in my hand. I then have to grab one which is one different from this, so I could grab this one because he's got 2 arms and popcorn and sunglasses. I can then have a look and see if there's anything else which I could go with. Or I could go with this one here. So this one just loses the sunglasses, and then I can also choose ones which are identical. They don't have to be different. They can be one different or they can be identical. So I could have him because he's identical. I could then have him because he's lost an arm. And where could I go from here? I could go for this brown one over here. So he's the same, but he's brown. And then we could look for, well, let's have a look at this one. So he's now got the sunglasses, and so on and so on. When you get to the point where you think there's no more that you can grab, you shout stop, and then everybody has to stop grabbing them because all the players will be grabbing cards at the same time and getting each other's way. The other players then check through your hand and see if you've made any mistakes. If you have made a mistake, if there's one in there which is more than one different, then you lose all your points. If you haven't made any mistakes, you would grab any card from the centre, add it to your hand, and then you count up the cards in your hand, and that's how many points you get for this round. Your fellow players do the same, check they haven't made any mistakes. If they have made a mistake, they lose all their points. If they've made no mistakes, they get as many points as there are cards in their hand. You then refill these spaces in the grid here, and everybody takes a new what's called a member card, so a new card to start with, and then you play through another round, and then you repeat that again until eventually the deck has run out and nobody can take a member card, and at that point the game ends and you add up your points, you see who's the winner. Pick a Pig and Pick a Dog I bought initially intending to play with my 7-year-old nephew, but he wasn't really interested. So I ended up with these 2 games which I didn't really think I'd have another opportunity to try them. But I have tried them since with adult groups, And as I said earlier, I play them as an icebreaker at the start of an event, or introducing new people to playing games, or as a filler between bigger games. They play extremely quickly, and they're very easy to explain. Everyone gets the idea. They can also get quite frantic and quite competitive as people are trying to grab the cards, and so that creates quite a lot of laughter when people have made silly mistakes, or it's quite enjoyable seeing their points total reduced to 0 just because they've made one silly mistake because they've been going so quickly. So that's great. They've worked really well, and I've kept them in my collection for that reason. I've got both copies because it means I can play with up to 8 players by combining them, which is useful because it is essentially a party game, so the more players, the better. I play it in lunch breaks, at work. It's simple to explain, it's so quick, it's over in 10 or 15 minutes, and it's very portable. I think these are good games. I think they're well worth looking at. I think there's a new version called Pick a Polar Bear, which came out at Essen 2013. I'm not sure really what that involves, but maybe have a look at that one as well, see what you think.